we've got ourselves a heavyweight fight from Hollywood. We have Mel Gibson and Robert De Niro, a sight to behold if there ever was one. We know about these two. They've made some of the most iconic performances in the history of film. They're newsworthy quite literally because Mel Gibson roasted Robert De Niro, and well, it didn't look good.
I'm gonna say one thing, Trump.
I have to say, De Niro has been very vocal about political issues in recent years, and wouldn't that be an understatement? The man seems to have transformed from a cinema voice to practically a political rant, ranting that could even make a saint shake their head in disbelief. As for Gibson, enough said.
The second time I saw Robert De Niro, I said to myself, that's the kind of actor I want to be. That's what I want to do. And I want to do it with the commitment and the passion and the skill and the beauty with which that he applies to it. And he's been my beacon for 50 years, I swear to God.
Now, in the spirit of honesty, we gotta set the scene first. Robert De Niro has been known to be one of Hollywood's most famous actors for the best part of 4 decades. 2 Academy Awards, as well as unforgettable performances in Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, and Raging Bull. You take your pick. A real powerhouse in the industry. But he's recently been in the news for everything he's said outside of performing in movies. It's not a secret that De Niro has a keen interest in politics. He's almost gone so far out in left field that some observers claim he puts activism ahead of acting. He's been heard using the most colorful language about certain political figures and caught red-handed making incendiary speeches that indict any opposing point of view. Love it or hate it, Hollywood is listening.
As we did, started to support him. They bought into his bullshit.
And then comes Mel Gibson. Now, Gibson is no stranger to any controversy himself. He's gone through his share of public outrage over the decades, but lately he seems to have been making a comeback to Hollywood. Directing, acting, and getting in the good graces of the industry, Gibson is back on his feet again. And apparently he hasn't been too pleased with De Niro's latest jinx.
There was a lot of opposition to it. And I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going. Because,
Of course.
it's big subject matter, and it's like, and my contention is, when I was making it, it was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind.
Gibson has never been one to hold back his opinions, and lately he's been making it clear that he doesn't approve of De Niro's way of going about Hollywood in politics. He thinks actors should stick to acting and keep these political disputes out of every last one of their award show speeches, interviews, and public appearances. He's not alone in that. Several Hollywood insiders and moviegoers have noted the growing sentiment that people want to sit back and watch films without being lectured about political considerations. Gibson? Well, he has one finger full-on pointed toward De Niro as one prime example of political activism blowing up in someone's face. Now, here comes the real kicker. The demise of De Niro's recent work. Notice how bad his movies are turning out these days? Well, we wouldn't say that he's turned incompetent. However, let's face it, none of his latest roles can really be considered Oscar-worthy. The Alto Knights? It doesn't help that it's already being looked at with a couple of skeptical eyebrows. Guess who had something to say about it? Mel Gibson. According to him, Robert De Niro has gotten so caught up with politics that he has nearly destroyed his career. Rather than devote his energies to the craft that made him famous, he spends much of his time yelling from podiums, ranting in interviews, and calling names. The result? Audiences are tuning out. People don't go to movies to be lectured, they want to be entertained.
Kind of thing in the town, they said, did anyone just see that? Anyone just see what that guy did? Can't let that guy do that again. And
Yeah.
we don't want anyone doing that.
Gibson stated that actors are not just individuals, they're representatives of studios, distributors, and a whole production crew. When an actor like De Niro has a political rant, it affects not just himself, but the whole industry. And he's not wrong. Hollywood behaves like any other business. It needs its studios to have audiences that want to watch their movies. If that audience gets alienated by some actor, he practically kills his career.
Where do I start?
And guess what? The studios are already recognizing the trend. The Alto Knights will be Warner Brothers' last project with De Niro. After this, they want nothing to do with him. No more big-budget movies, no more starring roles. Looks like the bigger fish in Hollywood are making an exit too. And per Gibson, it's about time. Of course, De Niro's fans argue that he's entitled to speak his mind, that standing up for what he believes in is right. And that's fair, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Here's the thing though, Hollywood is not politics. The audience at the end of the day wants to see great movies. For every past issue, Gibson has a valid point. He's out there working on a labor of love in Lethal Weapon 5, ensuring that he puts together the movie that people want to see. Meanwhile, De Niro seems to make more headlines than hits, and people are noticing this. Questions arise in the whole feud. Do actors owe it to engaging in acting alone, or is their responsibility to speak about their opinions with the fame given to them? The discussion has gone on for years. Probably an American thing, but De Niro's statistics don't lie. Fans are leaving, studios are hesitating on their deals. Other actors, such as Gibson, are now putting him in his place.
He's done everything. What more do you need? It's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country to with us. His slogan should be America. I want to America.
And it's not just one bad movie or one speech that was deemed controversial. It's about an entirely new direction that actors have taken toward their audience. Politicizing entertainment has grown stale, and audiences want to watch The Godfather, not hear about government policy. Oh, and according to those in the know, De Niro and Gibson came this close to working together once. Yep, they discussed making Edge of Darkness with studio politics intervening. Maybe that's a good thing, because at this point the two seem to be entirely on different wavelengths. At that, Mel Gibson's commentary is not just about De Niro, it's about Hollywood writ large, about the industry losing touch with audiences, choosing activism over storytelling, and forgetting what makes movies magical in the first place. Much about the future holds good for both Gibson and De Niro. Gibson is said to have Lethal 5 next on his agenda, while De Niro looks to have an interesting future in the industry. Will he reinforce his political image, or will he take several steps back to concentrate on the movies that made him a star? Only time will tell. But it is fairly obvious that the altercation is yet to be genuinely resolved. Watch Gibson and many others not keep quiet whenever Hollywood chooses to walk the vague line between entertainment and activism. So, Mel Gibson versus Robert De Niro, the Hollywood fight where politics, acting, and controversy intermingle. What's your take? Should actors only act, or do they have a responsibility to speak out? Give us your thoughts in the comments below.